Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, is it the juice or is it the juice? The Juice's Juice is an 8% double IPA from Transient Artisan Ales in Bridgman, Michigan. The Juice is Loose is one of the first, I don't know, maybe hype New England style IPAs that I can remember coming from the state of Michigan here. Now, besides it being a great beer, it also had a lot to do with the fact that Transient wasn't really distributing here on the east side of the state, and only a few select retailers had it at the time. I could think of 8 Degrees Plato and Cultivate Coffee in Ypsilanti. Now today, Transient is available all over the east side. When I heard that a double version of that beer was being released, it was on my radar. So let's take a look at the label. We'll get it into a glass, but first I'd like to thank my executive producers, Brian Kramer and David Jeffries, for helping to bring this review to you today. If you'd like to become a producer, help out the channel, or even just buy me a beer, take a look at my Patreon at patreon.com/draft_therapy, where you can get early access to these videos, exclusive members-only live streams, and a few other special perks available only to patrons. Let's take a look at it. Not a whole lot to talk about here, but if we look at this one, if you remember the Juice is Loose, it's blue on blue. This one is orange. It's an orange label with a yellow kind of spray of, we'll say it's water. It says Transient Artisan Ales on the side here. It says The Juice is Juice, Double India Pale Ale with orange and lactose sugar. 8% ABV, 1 pint. If we turn it to the other side here, we have the government warning, and it says brewed in Bridgman, Michigan, 10-cent deposit. If I look at the bottom here, there is no canned on date. There is no canned on information here whatsoever, like any kind of dating information, but this just came out. Like, I know this just came out. So I'm going to use my IPA glass here. We're going to expect some spectacular, results here from the pour, because that's what we get out of this glass. So let's go ahead and put a nose on the can. Getting a lot of orange aroma, believe it or not. Very orange, has a little bit of a dankness to it as well. Let's go ahead and pour it. I mean, that's coming out like, looking like orange juice right out of the can. We're going to pour it a little bit more down the center and churn up a little bit more of a head. The head is actually collecting in a bit of an off-white, almost orange kind of color itself. That is a little bit different of a color than I'm used to seeing on a head on a beer like this, but I won't make any other comments. We'll just take a look at the head here. It is about 3 fingers, 2.5 to 3 fingers worth of head. Big bubbles, as you can see from the overhead. Really nice and compact. That's a really nice head that's got it's almost like a styrofoam kind of block sitting on the top there, and just a little bit of dissipation on the bubbles themselves. If we hold it up to the light, yeah, I'm not seeing through that like at all. It looks like a glass of orange juice. The color itself is a bit of an orangey. From my point of view, it has a little bit more of a darker color. To you, it probably looks a little bit more like orange juice. I think, the reason for that is I'm seeing the light filter through the beer, whereas you're seeing it from the front. If we put a better nose here on the glass, it has a bit of a funky kind of dank smell, but there's a lot of orange aroma coming through as well. It's an interesting smelling beer. I'll give it that. It definitely has a dankness to it, but it definitely also has a lot of orange notes coming through as well. So I am ready to try that out. That head has not really gone down much. Cheers. Wow. That has big, pillowy, soft mouthfeel. That is like a smooth mouthfeel. That's probably one of the smoothest IPA, New England style IPA kind of mouthfeels that I've had in a long time. That is super duper smooth. Now let's talk about the taste. While the aroma had a little bit of that kind of, like I said, funky kind of smell to it, the taste is huge, massive amounts of citrus, big orange flavors, big bursting kind of, just lots of different citrus, lots of kind of mandarin orange, lots of tangerine kind of flavor in there as well, lots of just navel orange. It's just kind of running the gamut of all these different orange flavors. There's also a bit of a tropical note in there as well. It has maybe a little bit of a like overly sweet flavor to it. I was thinking in my head, like, is there pineapple in here or not? Because there's a bit of a tropical kind of note to it. But like I said, it's like big time navel orange, big time mandarin orange, big time tangerine, big time just orange in general. It's orange through and through. There isn't much of like I don't really taste much of a bitterness. It's very smooth. It's like very sweet through and through. There's not a whole lot of any kind of bitter, like hoppy bitterness. Sometimes for me personally with lactose, I can get bitterness from lactose that kind of gives it an artificial kind of bitterness to it. It's got an artificial sweetener bitterness to it, but I'm not really picking up much on that at all either. It's just really big orange, like through and through. Even on the aftertaste, there's not really much of a bitterness to speak of. There's a little bit maybe of a citrus bitterness coming through, but there's not really much at all. So it's really, if you like, if you like orange flavors, this is going to be like the orange flavored beer for you. But yeah, like I said, I thought I was maybe picking up on a little bit of a pineapple, like on a tropical, but I'm not. It's really just orange through and through. The mouthfeel is spectacular. It's very smooth, very tasty. It's got a lot of flavor to it. If you are an orange fan, if you're an IPA fan with a lot of orange kind of flavors, highlights to it, this would be something that I would definitely say put on your radar. There's not really anything negative I can say about this. There's not really anything like overly critical. The only thing that I'm thinking of each time I lift this up to take a drink is the aroma, because the aroma hits you. I'm pulling it up to take a drink, and right here as I take a breath and I drink, that funkiness that's in the aroma kind of like gives you this little bit of an off-putting mindset a little bit, but the flavor has none of that. There's none of this funky note to the actual flavor itself. It's just on the aroma. And like I said, the aroma itself is just a tad off-putting because it's got like this just smell that I wouldn't equate with something tasting good, but when I take a taste of it, through and through, it's delicious. Like I said, if there's only, and it almost tastes like orange juice from concentrate, or just like super straight orange juice. After trying a few sips of it, your palate gets used to it. It's like you're just drinking straight up orange juice. I can't stop myself from taking the sips of it because it's just a really tasty beer. But like I said, if there's one thing I could say against it, is that aroma that I'm getting. There's a little bit of a kind of funky, sour kind of note to the aroma that would put me off, but if it didn't taste so good, like if it tasted not so great, it would be a note that would totally take, a point away from this beer. But because the flavor is so great, it's got just that really nice kind of orange juiciness through and through. It's very juicy, very, almost pulpy. Like you expect that there's going to be pulp in this because of how juicy it is. But besides, just forgetting about the aroma, I don't find a single fault with this beer. All right, friends, that has been The Juice is Juice from Transient Artisan Ales. Have you had this one yet? Or do you think that Transient does better with their IPAs or their stouts? Do you know of a better IPA than this one from Transient? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there, if you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell, because I'm here talking about beer twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's all for free for viewers just like you. And you might miss your newest favorite if you're not subscribed and getting those notifications. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. Remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries. These guys are in Bridgman, Michigan. And until next time, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Cheers.